CAT 2024 is done. So many questions are on our mind. Should we take another set of tests? Should we focus on GDPI or both? Should we go for a retake? I don't know. So many things are currently there. You do not have probably a thorough understanding of how your CAT went. You probably are feeling that maybe things are not going the way they should. Or you are quite elated, quite happy. I'm here to bring next steps for you. Listen to this video carefully. You will get answers to all your questions. And if I still cannot answer all these questions, feel free to leave your questions in the comment section and I will answer that one by one. Today we are going to discuss what are going to be the next step for those for whom CAT worked and for those for whom CAT did not. Let's take a look at the agenda for today. So we'll deal with only 4 parts. One, I'm going to talk about the ADMATs, the next set of exams that you should or you may take, the reasons behind that, and so many other things related to it. We are going to talk about B school applications, how you should fill them. Very interesting take on this. Third, we are going to talk about GDPI. Of course, that's the thing that you have to be aware of. What is going to be your prep strategy? What should you do now and what you should go for later, maybe after a month or so. And finally, I'm going to talk about the most sought after and thought after thing, whether I should take CAT again or not. Let's begin with our very first thing called the ADMATs. Normally when I talk about ADMATs, there are so many exams, but if I talk about the prominent exams, at least the exams that are going on, say, till end of January, that is what I've kept here. And this is going to be your focus also for the upcoming days. ADMAT is one prominent exam, then there is a SNAP, then of course we have ZAT on 5th of January, and finally we have CMAT and MyCAT on 25th of January. Now this is a clash. I'll talk about that clash and how to deal with it as well. Let's go for a thorough preparatory understanding of how to deal with each of these. So I've taken some scenarios. Let's say if you have your ADMAT on 6th of December, then of course the first snap is going to happen on 8th of December. Then another snap is going to happen on 15th of December. Let's say that you also take ADMAT also on 15th December. Now when I say 15, of course it could be 14 or 16. Might not be possible to take both the exams in one day. I'm just giving you an idea that if your goal is currently this 6th, then you are left with fewer days. If your goal is somewhere around 15th, then you are left with slightly more number of days. And of course, if your goal is way far, which is more or less 20-25 days, including say today, then you have more number of days, and on that basis only your preparation should be geared. Let's take a look at that. So let's assume this thing that your first set of exam is coming somewhere around 8th of December. So you are probably left with what, a week or so, 1 day or 2 day max, more than that. How do you do that? There is one thing which is given to you. If you are already an IMS student, you must be having a module 5 in your courseware. Module 1 to module 4 was specifically dedicated to CAT. Module 5 contains everything for the other non-CAT exams basically. And that is something you definitely should do. What does it contain? All these things related to syllogism, arguments, various types of, and so on. So all these, strong argument, weak argument that we keep on seeing in all of these types of exams. There are practice exercises in it. There are class exercises in it. You must do all these things. All the videos, every explanation, everything is available on your portal and of course in your book. Definitely do that, and it should take you what, somewhere around 3 days. Then you should go for ADMAT master classes. There are a lot of them. You might not be able to do all of these. So what you should do, the best thing is that you take the mocks. Just take a couple of mocks. How many mocks you should take? 3 to 4 mocks you should definitely take. Every time you take a mock, analyze it, find out those pain points which you can call as your more or less moderate or strengths, but you need to build on that. I don't want you to pick up on any topic that is really weak for you and is requiring a lot of time of yours. Although that should not be a big problem, because in all these exams the level of difficulty of questions is not as high as compared to say CAT or ZAT. But then the competition lies in the time that you have to solve a question in. Okay. So I'm saying that take a full length mock, find out your pain points and go for the master classes of those topics that you feel that you need to develop some strength on. Now in your IMS, excuse me, there are 2 types of master classes. One is master class for CAT, the other one is master class for ADMAT. What do you have to do? Masterclass for ADMAT, okay, not the CAT. Now let's take our next scenario. Say your exam is going to happen on 15th of December. So from 6, 7 to 15, you know, more or less get one more week. So what are the changes here? Definitely your courseware module 5 would be done already, because that was the part of this slot, okay, 7 to 8 days initially. And you have to do the master classes also. Now this time you are going to do all the master classes. Maybe, you know, one or two you might not want to go for, but otherwise you should do all the ADMAT master classes. This thing only will ensure that your preparation is done and dusted. Then mocks are only going to give you exam specific edge, which you must do. Now how many mocks you should take if your exam is happening, say somewhere in mid of December? 5 to 7. I have added 2 to 3 mocks to the previous target, right? Let's say if your thing is happening on 21st, okay, so if I go for 21st, then of course your module 5 courseware is done, your ADMAT is also done. The only thing I can change here is that you have to go for more number of full length mocks. Now this is where I want to tell you something. See, whatever exams you are taking, my idea is that when I say that you have to do 3 to 4 mocks, I mean that you have to do 3 to 4 mocks of all those exams. So if your exam is happening on 6th of December, say for NMAT, and 8th of December for SNAP, then if you have to take mocks, I want you to take 3 to 4 mocks of both of them. So total 6 to 8 mocks. That's what I'm talking about. It could also be required that you are taking 2 mocks in a day, but that's absolutely okay. Of course, depending upon where you are currently standing, if your preparation is really not so much, in that case you can reduce your number of attempts, number of mock attempts, by 1 or 2 or 3 in total, okay. But yes, when I say whatever number of mocks, I mean it for each exam, because every exam is specific. You have to build your capacity on the basis of it. It's not like if I'm saying 8 to 10 mocks, then you are going to do 4 for SNAP and 4 for NMAT. Nah, that's not going to happen. If nothing works, then this is the bare minimum which is required, right? But that is not the ideal scenario. Let's go ahead. Now this time, let's take a look at ZAT. ZAT is going to happen on 5th of January. 5th of January simply means that you have more than a month. So the entire December you would be having, and a couple of days of January, and whenever this video is posted, maybe 1 or 2 days of November, right? So which should give you a good idea. I'll be able to do ZAT, which is a good thing. But ZAT has one additional element to it, which is called decision making, and that is a section that you have not touched upon the entire year. It doesn't require a lot of effort and time, but it requires dedicated effort for a shorter duration, okay. And there is a way to do it so that you can crack the cutoff in the decision making section. So I'm saying that if your ZAT is on 5th of January, then of course all these things you would be doing. Now here I have written ADMAT master classes you should do, but I would also recommend that if you want to skip ADMAT master classes for ZAT and you would want to go for CAT master classes, that's also fine. ADMAT master classes means that there are certain topics which are asked in CAT, which are not asked in CAT but are asked in ZAT. So for that you can take up ADMAT master classes, but I leave that to you. Anyway, you would have done all these things if you are going to go for SNAP or NMAT. Why bother about it? So I'm just adding some CAT masterclass thing if you want to build your expertise on a particular topic, because the difficulty level of ZAT is not going to be any different from difficulty level of CAT, especially for verbal, where we have seen that difficulty level of ZAT is actually higher. Then decision making should take about 4 days for you. We are going to give you all the content, every single thing for you to deal with that, but the best way to deal with the decision making is to do previous year papers. And in fact, for ZAT, let's say there is a distant scenario in which you are not able to attempt a single mock. I'm just giving you a distant scenario. You're not able to attempt a single mock. I would still accept that for you, but I will absolutely reject the idea if you do not take previous year papers. Last 10-year papers for ZAT is a must-do thing if you want to crack ZAT, to take a feel of how the paper is and the difficulty level, and more or less the questions are similar, right? It really churns your mind, because this is going to be your next major exam after CAT as far as the difficulty level is concerned, and you are aiming for XLRI here, which is also similar to the top IMs, right? So I'm saying that maybe you go for 2 to 10 full length mocks. That's what I have written. Why? Because if you do not have enough time, then maybe you're focusing more on the previous year papers, then you would be able to take fewer mocks. Otherwise, If you are really aspirational, go for really more number of full length tests coming from both the sources, mocks and previous year papers. Now comes this thing. Now this is a clash. CMAT this time has released the date for exam in January, and that is happening on 25th of January, which is also our MyCAT exam. So what should we do in this case? Now you have to really carefully evaluate what your aspirations are. If you are really dead bent on making a career in marketing and communication, then you go for MICA. If you have really worked hard for that, if your life is about that, if your heart beats for it, it is for Mudra Institute of Communication, Ahmedabad, one of the wonderful institutions for a career in marketing. But if you think that, okay, this is something I can try, but in general, I want to do just MBA, then I would sincerely say, don't go by MyCAT, just go for CMAT. And that is what you need to prepare. Everything else, of course, you would have already prepared for CMAT by now. We have done our master classes, all these things we have done. But there is one additional thing that you also need to do, which is called innovation and entrepreneurship. Now, the people who are already part of our system, you already have innovation and entrepreneurship book that we have given to you, right? And it also would be uploaded very soon on the IMS portal, and might have, by the time this video is released, it might already have been uploaded. But the point is, this is something you should do. We are also going to go for many YouTube sessions to help you prepare with that. So definitely log on to those sessions, which are going to happen. So ideally, it should not take more than 3 days for you, and you have enough time for that. 25th January basically means 2 whole months. So if nothing really works for you, then go for CMAT. Try to get really good percentile in it. You still will have an interesting set of colleges for you to give a good return on investment. And that is what your preparation strategy, preparation timeline should be. I hope this is clear to you. If there is an issue, if you want to discuss something else, feel free to put that in comment. I'll try to answer as many questions as possible. Let's go further. B school application. Now this is an interesting thing. How to decide B school applications? CAT was conducted on 24th. We do not have response sheet now, and even if we get response sheet, we can't really 100% say what the percentile is going to be. Of course, that is going to give you, more or less a significant understanding of how your CAT went. But the decision is how you should apply to B schools right now, before response sheet is out or before the CAT score, official score is out. Here are certain things that you have to bear in mind. Now listen to this portion carefully. It's going to change your life. So I have divided, B schools into 3 parts. One is called aspirational B school. ये तो मुझे चाहिए. I want that. One is called realistic. ये मुझे मिल जाएगा. I will get that. One is called certain. ये तो definitely मिल जाएगा. I'm definitely going to get that. Now what is the meaning of these 3 words? First, you have to just, close your eyes for a moment. Not right now. I'm just asking you what to do. Close your eyes for a moment and think about how your CAT went and be devil's advocate. Think about the feeling you were having. Were you really confident when you were taking CAT, or were you not very confident after, taking your exam? Don't go by the analysis that, so many people have posted on the internet. No, it is about how you were feeling, and how you are going to match that feeling. You have taken so many mocks. Now see, if you are feeling a particular way after specific set of mocks, and if you got good score in that, and if you were feeling the same way, then more or less you can think of that this is going to be my percentile. This is one way of identifying what type of percentile you might get. I'm not saying it's going to be true, but this is a good way to evaluate that. But you have to be very true to yourself. Second way to identify the type of percentile is that if you have taken so many mocks, then whatever more or less the percentile was going on in your mock, and your exam also did not bomb. If it went more or less the same way, okay, then you can go for that percentile that was getting reflected in your mocks when you did your SimCATs at the IMS portal and you got the CAT predicted percentile. That is something you can think of. So you will get some number. For some of you, it could be 80. For some of you, it could be 90. For some of you, it could be 95. For some of you, it could be 99. Are you getting what I'm saying? And you will not get a number, you would get a range. कि हाँ 80 से तो ऊपर आ ही जाएगा. Or I'll get, maybe more than 85 for sure, or more than 95 for sure, or around 95 for sure. That is the number I'm talking about. When you get that number in your mind, then do not let anything else change that number. This is your number. For now. It could be wrong, but this is your number for now to make this list. Then I have a simple formula. Plus 3 to 5 percentile of your CAT number is your aspirational college. For example, if you think that I'm going to get more than 90 percentile, more than 90 percentile doesn't mean 99. When you say more than 90, it means 91, 92. Then maybe you can think that up to 95 I can fill. All the colleges which are gonna have, which are going to accept the calls for say a cutoff of 95 percentile, let me fill that. Now that is going to be your aspirational one. But you are only going to fill the colleges for which the deadlines are now. Okay. Until the response sheet comes out. So if the response sheet has not come out, but maybe the deadline is in another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, then it is a good idea to fill that right away. The only loss that you are going to incur, if at all, is going to be the monetary loss. And that's why I have asked you to think carefully about what sort of percentile you might get. But don't really think too much on that. Okay? Second thing is the realistic set of college. What is realistic college? Minus 3 to plus 2 percentile of your CAT expectation. Why? Whatever number you have on your mind. Then minus 3 to plus 2. For example, if you think my marks is going to be somewhere around 90 percentile, maybe 92, 88 to 92 sort of cutoff you can get. So there is a better chance for you to secure a call from it. That's why I've called it realistic. And what is certain? Certain simply means that you are going to get a call from that. So if you think that you're going somewhere around 90, then anything below 90 is something you should fill if you are aiming for that. It's not like you have to fill all the colleges. Okay, so minus 5 percentile or below. Of course, if you want 90, then you would not want to fill a college whose cutoff percentile is 60 or 70. Maybe you would be able to manage till 85, 85 to 90 ke beech ka. Now, interesting thing is that if you are thinking that your CAT percentile is gonna be somewhere around 90, you can wait for the certain colleges, because all those colleges who would want you, and people who would get 85, 90 percentile or so, if not all, then most of them would have a slightly longer deadline. It would not be approaching right away. Deadlines are approaching for those colleges which generally require really high percentile. So if you think that you are in that 99 percentile, 95 or more percentile sort of bracket, then it would be a good idea for you to go for some colleges which fall in your certain category. Okay, chalo. Now how do you find that out? Very interesting thing. bschoolzone.imsindia.com. You can either type this thing on your Google Chrome or whatever browser, and it will pop a list, or you go to your My IMS and there is a B School Zone or B School Corner tab. You click on that and it will again take you to the same page, and the page looks something like this. Very detailed, very detailed. Dekho. List of programs, application deadlines, cutoff, compare, frequently asked questions, all these things are there. So I've just clicked on application deadline here and take a look at that. All the applications which are currently open are visible to you. All the applications which are over are also visible to you. Now this is just one part of the page. When you scroll it, you will get to know about various other things. Very, very, very comprehensive. Do not take any decision without consulting this page and your mentor. Perfect, no? Let's take a look at the third aspect, GDPI. Now, what after CAT? GDPI is definitely a thing for you. If you are going to go for next set of ADMATs, then also GDPI will come later on. If you are not going to go for next set of ADMATs and you are relying only on CAT, then also GDPI will come on. Until you decide to drop out of the CAT 24 race, GDPI is there for you. GDPI simply means group discussion and personal interview. That's just a way of saying the second stage of the selection process, basically the interview round. So what's going to be the preparation strategy? It's a quite detailed preparation strategy. We are going to launch out the course very soon. But I'm going to talk about what you should do now, starting right away. You can't wait anymore for your GDPI preparation. Things are going to go together. Of course, you will spend less time right now on your GDPI preparation if you have some ADMATs coming up, but maybe more time later on. So what you should do, definitely start reading newspapers if you were not doing it or if you had stopped that. especially editorials. Editorials will give you a great perspective on various news items. And you can then decide whether you want to agree with the writer or you want to disagree with the writer. Nobody in the PI, listen to this carefully guys, nobody in your PI is going to ask you a factual detail. Acha, tell me, what is the name of so and so yojana? Nah. Or what are the salient features of so and so yojana? That's not something that MBA guys are interested in. They may ask this thing in passing, but that's not their intent. They would ask your understanding on it. Okay, so if the capital expenditure has increased in the budget, I'm just taking an example, then what are the implications of it? That's what they want to understand from you. And that's where editorials come into picture. GK zone of IMS, which is there on my IMS, definitely you should go for that. This is how it looks like. You go to prepare and then you would have guides, modules, GK, master classes. You click on GK, then it will give you current affairs and strategy GK as two options. Click on that and start reading. All these things you can do in your free time. Stop scrolling through Instagram. Of course, scroll to our Instagram and our YouTube channel, but then stop it. Third thing is summary revision of main graduation subjects. Very important. Summary revision of main graduation. What is summary revision? Let's say that you are a BCom graduate. Now all your main subjects are going to be somewhere around accounting. These are the main subjects. There are other main subjects also, but they definitely expect you to be able to say, make a good balance sheet or understand the balance sheet for instance. So if somebody asks you, is goodwill an asset or not, then you should at least know the answer of that. Okay. And what is summary revision? Everything that is there in the end of a particular chapter, that is called the summary revision. You don't have to go through the entire concept. And you should be able to solve some basic questions. They are not going to ask you highly detailed questions. Okay, 10, 15, 20 questions of each of these topics should be enough. But you must do the summary revision of main graduation subject. Even if you are not willing to go for your current graduation, let's say some of you are from science, but you are going for MBA because you don't like science anymore. First, you can't say that. And even if you don't like science, and if you then do not prepare, if they ask you a question and you are not able to answer that, then they will just think that you have not justified your undergraduate degree. How will you justify the PG degree? So even if you do not like what you have studied, you still at least should know the basics of it. You have spent 3-4 years in that, come on, right? Then quantitative awareness of CV bullets. Whatever is there given in your CV, you should know everything about it. And quantitative awareness. For example, if you say that, you organized a college fest, then quantitative awareness simply means that what was the impact of it. You can say that, I organized a college fest in which so and so sponsors were there, so many sponsors were there, or you raised the, money, say, worth 10 lakh rupees or what not, 10 lakh, 5 lakh, whatever, 2 lakh. Or, there was a footfall of 5,000 people and it was a year-on-year increase of say 20% and so and so. This is the level of understanding you should have to the CV bullet points. ऐसा नहीं कि I have done something. Nah, it's not like that. And then, as far as GDPI is concerned, just prepare 7 major questions. Not just, definitely prepare the 7 major questions. Every question related to your personality, life, all these things basically is a derivation of this. There are various other questions also, but these are the most important. So what are those 7 major questions? Listen to that carefully. You have to write these answers. And then you have to practice that also in front of a camera. So, you have mobile phone, use that. Tell me something about yourself. Write it. We are going to detail every single thing about what to do in this case in a separate video on GDPI basics, which we will post on YouTube, but just be aware of the 7 questions. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want to do MBA? Why you are the right candidate for this course or this college? Why you have selected the particular institute? What is it that excites you, say, about IIM Ahmedabad? What are your short-term career goals? What are your long-term career goals and what are your long-term social goals? So both. And finally, your strengths and weaknesses. These are the 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. These are the 7 major questions that you must prepare on. Which brings me to the final portion of discussion. Those of you who are in the throes of deciding whether you should go for CAT 24 still or not, this is what you need to think about. Whether you should retake the CAT or not. Understand one thing, my dear. Retaking simply means retaking, restarting. So you need to evaluate a couple of things. Just because your CAT did not go well, first of all, accept that. It did not go well. Now what to do? Just because your CAT did not go well doesn't really make you a candidate for the next year's preparation right away. Let's take a look at how you should evaluate it. There are three aspects. First, let's evaluate. Evaluation can happen on various counts. First, your current CAT bombed, which is okay. If your current CAT bombed, but you can do well in the ADMATs, and then you can go into good colleges still, you still should go for this year only, not for the next year. But if you think that there is no possibility for ADMATs also, there are two aspects to it. One, you have not even filled the form for any of the good ADMATs, and your current CAT bombed. Maybe things are not going to work for you. So you got to go for the next year. If you have already filled that, but your marks are not reflecting, they are way far, and you are absolutely, sure that this is not going to happen, you can decide to go for a retake. But in this case, I would still say that if you have filled the form now, at least give it a shot. You can still start your CAT preparation maybe after a month. Don't just give it right away. But there is a third thing also. If your aspiration doesn't allow. Now, this is an important thing. Say if you think your CAT bombed. Now, bombing the CAT is different for everybody. For somebody, 95 percentile is also bombed. For somebody, 75 percentile is also good. So you have to decide what do you feel, whether your CAT bombed or not. And this thing will be in surety only after the release of your, scores, your response sheet. But if your aspiration doesn't allow, okay, I only want to go into, say, I am ABC. For whatever reason, I'm not even talking about the reason. For some people, it could be that, I've already worked for 5-6 years. Maybe other colleges will not justify my return on investment. Could be good reason. The other reason could be that I really have, aimed for that particular thing, but not for any of these things. That's absolutely fine. You got to evaluate. But if your aspiration doesn't allow, then you are a good candidate for going, for this retaking of CAT in the upcoming year. If your risk profile is currently low, if you think that, I am just a college graduate, or I have not even graduated from college, so I really do not have to worry about any gap year. I can give it another shot. Maybe I did not I did not give my best this time, and so forth. So many things could be there. Or I will get a job, or I've already have the job. So if my CAT had worked out, I would have not accepted the offer. But if my CAT has not worked out, I have accepted the offer. So I'm going to go for the job and I'll prepare again. All these things are fine. This is a low risk profile. I don't think that there is any sort of career risk or time bound risk on me. Definitely you are a candidate for the upcoming year. So you should start right away. Don't worry about anything else. And the last thing, very important. All these things are fine, but please have a quick discussion with your mentor. Take your mentor in confidence. If your mentor agrees to your justification and says that, okay, go for the CAT again, perfect. And then do not think twice. Do not think about anything else. The other thing is, if you are retaking the CAT, then you have to go for profile building. What do I mean by profile building? If you are going to retake the CAT, evaluation you have done, now you are going to retake the CAT, and now you have one whole year with you, 12 months. What you should do in those 12 months? You have college exams. If you are in college, definitely focus on that. Do not compromise on your college scores under any circumstance. Focus on extracurricular, of course, if you are in college. Take an internship. If you do not have anything to justify your, professional bent, professional learning, professional experience, you could be in college or you could be in a gap year already, but definitely you can go for some internship, or you can go for a job if it is applicable for you. Definitely go for courses and certification, and this is a must for people who are on a gap year. Courses and certification first justify your gap year, and also they give you some edge in terms of your interview, that okay, I am the right candidate for this thing. Especially if you are coming from the non-managerial background, then doing some courses on management, it could be management related courses, it could be economics, it could be finance, it could be operations, logistics, whatever, but doing anything on that gives you some edge. All right, and try to go for some community work, because it adds the versatility quotient to your portfolio and then offers you a better chance at conversion. And the third thing is timeline. What is the timeline? Now you have 12 months. Now you don't have to worry about anything. Once you have decided you want to go for the CAT again on the basis of the discussion we had, then you start it right away. For you, every single thing related to the current year's CAT is gone. No blogs for you, nothing. Focus on foundation. Foundation simply means verbal foundation, DI foundation, QA foundation, which is verbal foundation is reading. Start reading. Start reading. And I'll talk about a detailed video on CAT 2025 preparation, which you will be able to see after this video. Just go through that carefully. It's gonna help you right away. Then calculation, speedy calculation is for quants and puzzles for your DI. You got to solve that. It should be part of your daily life. Now, discussion and decision on classroom coaching, whether you should go for it or not. It is your decision, but I have another quantitative metric for it. Normally, I say that if your CAT percentile is less than 90, it is desirable that you go for classroom coaching. If your CAT percentile is more than 90, then you can decide whether you want to go for it or not. But in this case, it is a must recommendation. It's a must do recommendation. And definitely sit for some time quietly with yourself. Take a paper, write down your previous mistakes, what you were thinking and what you got. It is very important. If you do not evaluate your previous mistakes, you might repeat them, which you might not want to do after spending one more year in the preparation. Isn't it interesting? And then once you decide that, yes, I now want to take CAT again, then there is no looking back after the final decision. No looking back. फिर कुछ नहीं सोचना. Just remember, my dear, that you should not stop. There is a quote which I heard somewhere long ago, which resonates with me. Life achieved and kept by great men were not attained in a sudden flight. They, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards through the night. And it's time for you to toil. No success is going to come if you do not toil. So burn yourself. Not physically, but burn yourself. And then let the sharp reflection come out of you. That's all. All the very best for whatever decision you take after CAT.